This episode of Roofing University is brought to you by Primeline Tools.
Roofing is fun. Na 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 na. Roofing is fun. Na, na. Hi, it's Joshua from Roofing University. And on today's episode, we're going to be installing ridge vent. So I'm going to go over the tools you're going to need to do this job. Preferably I use a DeWalt cordless saw to cut in your ridge vent. We use the DuraFlo BAFFLED ridge vent made of plastic. I use a blower to clean my site. I also use the chalk line. You may use a cutter. I use the prime grip, a hammer, and maybe some scissors. And you're also gonna need some 2-inch spikes. So there's everything you need to do it. Let's get to it. So the first step is for your ridge vent is to have the shingle cut out. So you're exposing the ridge. Now this isn't necessary, but we're gonna do it anyway. A lot of guys probably say they won't do this, but you can put a chalk line down. You're gonna want 1 inch to 1.5 inches opening on either side. So if you want it to look pretty from the inside, take a little second here, put your chalk line across. So we're gonna let Tanya cut in the ridge vent. So the thickness of the plywood is 3/8, so you're gonna wanna set your depth to about 3/8. Just eyeball it there. You might wanna go a little bit bigger than 3/8 because your shingles are gonna push you over. So that's looking pretty good. And do the honors, Tanya. Should take the inch piece out that you cut. We got the wood removed. You're gonna want to clean up the debris. This is why you bring up the leaf blower. Don, you want to get a BJ? So you're gonna wanna make sure any nails that are sticking up in the plywood get put down. Drive those down. Okay, so we use Hip and Ridge. It's the Dynasty line as well. So it comes with perforated cap. They're already cut. So on a cold day, to make it nice and easy, you can do a couple at a time. If it gets too hot, you gotta do it 2 at a time. Just break these up. And we'll start. So our ridge venting goes right to the overhang. The reason we don't vent the overhang is because there's pieces of wood that run to attach it, and they're gonna block that airflow anyway. So regardless, you can't get any airflow up that end gable. So I start by doing 2 rows of cap. Usually center out on the first 2. And of course, I'm not gonna use my gun because we're gonna hand vane the whole thing, but we use a 2-inch nail to install the ridge vent. So I like to come 2 runs in, and that's where we're gonna start a ridge vent. So the DuraFlo Pro Ridge comes with indicating nail line, so it basically tells you this is for applying the actual vent. Now here's a tip I'm gonna give you. So they have their hole right here. This is where I put it. See, there's a stud here. There's a stud. I'm gonna contact nail that right there. So if you do that twice on this piece right here, I mean, there might not be a hole for it, but it's not going anywhere. You'll never lift that vent out. You'll never have it blow off. But if you happen to put in the holes, as you can see, you're gonna miss every stud. So I reckon you can put it in here if you want, follow some holes. But if you can hit the 2 studs on either side, this means it'll never come off, not in a million years. Just a little tip for you guys. And as you go across, the DuraFlo ridge vent actually has little clips. Little male and female clips. You can just put them in. So it's straight, and then of course I'm gonna nail it into a stud. This one here happens to fall on a stud. You get lucky once in a while. Then you can also fill
Maybe
them in
on your
too.
anniversary.
Yeah, maybe. We're gonna want it to match this the same as the other side. Very simple. You can just cut these with regular tin snips or single snips, whatever you got. The sharper the snips, the better it is though. All right, now that you got the outline done, it's basically just laying cap by hand. But a lot of guys like to run a starting cap right there to give it adhesion under the plastic. Right there, there's nail line, shows you where to nail. Right there. Sometimes you gotta use the side of your hammer because you can't get her in here. Trick of the trades. Hey, Tanya, you like when I get the side hammer?
I love it. It's like our first date. Sounds like it too.
Oh yeah, you like that, Tanya? And that's how you install ridge venting. Join us next time on Roofing University. Big time, big time, big time, big time. He's a big time, big time, big time.